So here we have the Eurostar for an event in Paris on coach 11, and I shall see you the other side. So here I am in Paris, about to emerge from the subterranean for the first time in about 3 hours. Oh my gosh, look at that sunshine. We are at the Port d'Orléans metro, and now I have to find the road that my hotel is on. Now, I would like to show you the cityscape, but that's pointing right in the sun, so that wouldn't really work. There's gorgeous wide roads of Paris. Okay, till later. So, how Parisian is this? It's my hotel. This is the lift shaft. I think this is 3-star, I'm not sure because I didn't book it. It's rather beautiful. Sort of spiralling staircase around the lift. I'm on the 4th floor. I should have quite a casual attitude towards cleaning the rooms. It's about 4:30 or 4. Let's see. Oh, there we go, finally. Oh, look at that. Nice French touch. I bet they're not real. Oh, they are real, goodness. So this is my little room for tonight. Very charming it is too. Okay, so I'm going to have about half an hour to prepare myself for the gig and see if we can get any shots of the venue. Cafe Society, where is it? Heaps and heaps of empty tables. So this is Montparnasse, the area that I'm doing my event in. There should be lots of cinemas here. It's about the 3rd cinema I've noticed. Cinema, creperie and Chinese restaurants. Mown down by a bike. I have no idea if I'm going the right way out of the metro station. Trial and error. I do have a map, but I need to find a road sign for any of the turnings to decipher where I'm supposed to be going. Mine host has invited me out to a crepe after the event. I'm not a big fan of crepes, but can't really say no, can you? I'm afraid I'm more a steak frites man, as long as it's not made from horse. Seems to be a church and a cathedral over there. I say church and cathedral, one or t'other, clearly. You might see me get out my giant map and wrestle with it in a minute. Rue de Montparnasse, yes, that's not right. Okay, time for some map referencing. Longitude and latitude. What are we there? Rue de Montparnasse. But where is it? I think I've clearly gone the wrong way. Oh, there's Rue de Montparnasse. So I have gone the wrong way from the metro. About turn! Not quite Napoleon's retreat from Russia, from Moscow, but an Englishman's retreat from ineptitude. Well, all things being equal, it should be the next turning. But when the thing's ever equal in the land of liberté, fraternité and égalité. Bookshop. Gonna have to record that naturally. The Tashan Libraire. I don't know what Tashan means. Art. Lots of art books here. Trésor du Terror, so it's not just art. I still don't know what Tashan means. More art books. Karl Kraus. Here we go. This is my road. So this is the performance space. Don't think I'll be using the lectern. I think we've had the more intimate chat. PA. So they said it'd be between 10 and 30, so we've got too many chairs here. And I'm going to meditate out there. Looks rather nice, and prepare myself mentally. Okay, till later. Good morning, Booktube. Welcome to day 2 of my vlog. I'm on the way to my first destination in Paris this morning. I have half a day where I have to get the Eurostar. I've just noticed this. I don't know if you can see that sort of brown brick, sort of thin chimney. It's not, I don't think that's a chimney. I think that is an old Victorian stink pipe, which we had in the UK, and I'm assuming they had in Paris, but basically they were built to draw off the gases from the sewers safely so they didn't explode underground. I think that's what that is. I don't know if any of the stink pipes are still left in London, but I'm pretty sure that is what that is in Paris. So, pretty impressive. And if you can hear me above the din of the street cleaners, this next bit is for Sean, the book maniac. Look, Sean, bench 1, bench 2, bench 3, benches a go-go, Sean. This is Paris, not Tokyo. I assume in Tokyo they don't like people to put their feet up. They've got to be on the move, go, go, go. Oh look, bench 4. And also they were all down the side that I was walking on before I crossed over to here. There's one back on that side, past the tree. So Sean, get yourself over to Paris, you can have a good sit down. And of course, what better place to make a vlog, as I'm discovering this morning. Okay, so I'm about to go to my destination. I could bring you to the Paris of lovers, and that bridge which has all the padlocks of lovers pledging their troth, which is probably sunk under its own weight of love and infidelity and mistressing that is Paris, or just divorce. I have brought you to, instead of love, I've brought you to death. Montparnasse Cemetery. 1824 looks like it was started. That is the vista. Tree line. Now, doesn't look like they have a boutique for maps, which is a bit of a blow. Oh gosh, here we go. This is. I'm looking for 4 writers. Those. Oh my God. There's a 5th writer I've just. Oh my. There are so many. J.K. Huysmans, Eugene Ionesco, Emil Durkheim. Not the fiction writer, of course. Oh my God. Okay, I need to get my notebook out and start noting these numbers down. Oh, I see. It actually has their. It has their professions. I was trying to think what the French for a writer was yesterday, in case I was asked in French. I thought it was écriteur, but as I can see here, it's écrivain. Close but no cigar. I don't know if you can see this. Prudent, Pierre, philosopher. He's the only one in this entire thing who doesn't have a numbered grave. So I'm wondering if that's because this is Jean-Pierre Proudhon, the anarchist, and he was just too anarchist in death even to have a number ascribed to his grave. I shall definitely be checking him out. Someone I read his texts when I was in my late teens. Beautiful cemetery this is. It somehow has a different feel from the English cemeteries, you know, like Kensal Rise and the one in Stoke Newington and the one in Norwood, which are very beautiful themselves, but this feels different, more open, less gothic. If that makes any sense. Wow, we've got a Jewish Catherine Tikva Buknik. So this must be some sort of corporation. I mean, I don't know if it's still in use for burials, but I didn't expect to see a Jewish grave amongst all the sort of Christians with all the sort of crosses and stuff. And in the Jewish tradition, you lay stones on the grave as a mark of sort of respect or whatever. I always thought it was to keep the corpse down, to weigh them down so it didn't come back and haunt you. Wow, that must be an old grave. Look at the state of that one. That's the thing, after about 4 generations you've got no one left who remembers you to take care of your gravestone, unfortunately. Look at this one with the Maltese cross. I suspect, yeah, Baron. So this is obviously aristocratic one. I wonder if they were locked off in the. No, they don't seem to be locked off in the French Revolution. Look, there's fresh tended flowers, but then there's someone who's buried in 2013, which suggests this is still in use as a cemetery, functioning cemetery. Chinese or Vietnamese or possibly Cambodian, although I think with a name like that it's probably Chinese. Oh, beautiful. I wrote a short story about a graveyard and look at all the moss and lichen on that. I find that a terribly saddening image of, you know, our fates really. Stand back for this one. Beautiful, and yet I can't help feeling something about being in prison with that type of sepulchre or whatever. That's rather nice. Couple reading a book. That's a new grave that hasn't got its headstone erected yet. Wow. Oh, wow, look, this is obviously a jockey or a carriage rider's tomb. How fascinating. Not one. Okay, so I can't read Chinese or Japanese or Korean or whatever language that is, but this is what saddens me about, you know, your whole life. So the guy's lived, like I say guy, the person's lived 81 years and that's it. That's your lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Chinese characters and your dates. And that's it. That's what remains of us. I can't help thinking there's a sort of cosmic indignity to that somehow. Surely we deserve more than that. And yes, all these writers and sculptors and all that have left art behind, but, you know, and have made contributions to the pool of human knowledge and achievement, but which does outlast them, admittedly, but, you know, is it enough? I don't think so. I just find it, as I say, a great indignity. Can you believe it? I just took a spam phone call. Can't believe I'm in the middle of a cemetery in France, in Paris, all these great artists and writers, and had to take a bloody phone call. Oh wow, look at all that person's war medals. Okay, so I failed again. This is beginning to get me down. That's the second division. I need to find the first division for my two big hitters. This is the centrepiece of the cemetery. So we're at 11 o'clock and I found precisely none so far. Okay. Oh, look, some Cubist, Picassoian, Antoine Chaumont. Don't know who they are though. That's an interesting creation. Some sort of bird sculpture. Very odd. Not what I'm looking for though. I know it's a bit irreverent, but really, when you're approaching Serge Gainsbourg, it should blast out peals of Je t'aime to guide you.
Bonjour, on peut peut-être vous renseigner?
Pardon?
Vous les trouvez? Bonjour, vous les avez trouvés, ça y est?
Oui.
Tout à l'heure, je vous ai vu chercher.
So many.
Et lequel? Samuel Beckett?
Yeah, oui.
Il est là-bas. Quand vous êtes à Gainsbourg, vous avez vu Gainsbourg?
Oui.
Et quand vous êtes à Gainsbourg, trottoir de droite, vous allez sur la file de gauche plus loin, dans la 12. Il est au bord.
D'accord.
Beckett.
Merci. There's a fish. That couldn't possibly be man-raised, could it? Mr. Surrealism himself. Huh. No, I don't think it is. He makes his choice something about sardine. Oh, it should be Eric Cantona, but he's not dead. So these are some famous names: Henri Breton and his wife, and Pierre Boucher. But are they the famous artists of the same name? That I don't know. Interesting, there's absolutely no... Again, you know, if they are the famous artists who left us fantastic artwork beyond their lives, there's no inkling of that, no mention of that as their lasting achievements. See, over there, Roger Le Tertre, not someone I've ever heard of, but at least he's got like an artist's palette on his grave. So we know, we're clued in. He's got rather a lot of things on his grave. So the counter-argument is he's trying too hard to imbue his legacy. God, I hate golf. Imagine having that on your final resting place. This guy played a lot of golf. I also kind of anticipated that it would be a bit busy. I mean, I know it's a little strange time early on a Friday morning to come visiting, but I thought it'd be a bit busier and there'd be obvious crowds around the big names. That hasn't panned out. I'm enjoying this, but I have to say the edge is taken off by my failure to locate any of the lots of famous people in here. It's so frustrating. Of course, if this is one of my scavenger hunts, which it kind of is, I've probably passed its grave and captured it on camera. It's just a question of I'm not stood there in place musing on the actual grave itself. I mean, that happens a lot in my scavenger hunts. There was the recent one about, do I have that book? And one of the questions was, the name of the title of the book begins and ends in the same letter, and my camera was resting on HHHH by Laurent Binet, and then it passed over another book which began and ended. It was oh God, what was it called? It's a book by Gaddis, Carpenter's Gothic, which began with C and ended in C. And you know, despite the fact the camera was resting on both of those, I actually had to go off in search of one, which I found. Wasn't defeated. Okay, let's try another section. Lots of time. So I've got about 35 minutes was the original plan till I have to leave here. Oh, Society Baudelaire. That must be Charles Baudelaire's 11th. Where's Baudelaire? Oh, I didn't write him down in the end because I was never going to look at him. Okay, well presumably this is Charles Baudelaire. No, it isn't. These are members of the Baudelaire Society who have died. Okay, so even that doesn't work. Is it anyone on the 21st? Yes. Margaret Duras, okay. This should be easier to find because there's only two rows. And if I do find this, I know someone in Norway who's going to be tickled that I've managed to find her first of all these famous writers. I can't fail at this one, surely. I wouldn't imagine Duras would have a family plot because she grew up in French Indochina. So her ancestors would have been buried there, I suspect. Ah! Here we go. Marguerite Duras. I have finally found. Look at all. Oh, this is splendid. Look at all those writing pens and implements. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, that's brilliant. Lovely flower. Marguerite Duras. I only discovered you this year, in fact. I read The Lover on the recommendation of Silja, booktuber from Norway. And you are her favourite author. I think those are headbands, aren't they? Sort of scrunchies, that type of thing. Wonderful. Marguerite Duras, I salute you. She's married with Jan Andrea. Oh, she died in 1996. Jan Andrea, I don't know if that's her son or a partner. Okay, well, we found one, and as my theory attests, there is a gathering of people, so we have found the holy shrine, the grave. There they are in a sherd. Look at all those little items. Ah, they're metro tickets, held down with stones. How interesting. A few dried out flowers. There are their dates. So, the thing about Sartre and de Beauvoir that makes me think about authors, some people get their photos taken, is, you know, unlike British authors, these guys had an impact. I mean, de Beauvoir's impact was through her work, like The Second Sex, which is a, you know, really key text for feminism. Sartre's work, I think, had less impact, but the two of them, plus people like Camus, you know, they went on every 60s marching demonstration, and that had an impact, because in France, their intellectuals and artists are held in high regard. In Britain, the equivalent would be to have their pop singers leading marches, which ain't never going to happen, because they're too busy doing tax fiddles. And, you know, André Malraux, the famous novelist, was a culture minister in one of the governments. You know, France has a very different regard for its authors, and it listens to them. You know, in Britain, after the Grenfell fire, which is, in case you don't know, was an absolute disaster, which about 80, 90 people lost their lives due to basically austerity, cutbacks, you know, savings from local government, not, you know, properly having the anti-fire devices of alarms, sprinklers and all that sort of thing, proper fire doors, and the cladding that was used was the cheapest, and that's sort of what went up as a totally inflammable product. And what was the response from artists and writers, particularly in the UK? Well, you know, it was laudable. They, you know, they all sort of donated stuff for an auction, and it raised lots of money. But that was it. You know, after that, boom, done, gone. They've gone back to writing, and I kid you not, fantasy and romance, because that was most of the writers who responded to the appeal. That's what they wrote. They were not political writers. And I don't wish to criticise them, because they did give something. They didn't just, you know, do nothing. But at the end of the day, there's no sustained, see all those lipstick kisses on the grave. At the end of the day, there's no sustained, you know, looking to have impact, looking to change things, looking to improve people's lives and the people of Grenfell. In France, it was different. I don't know now, because I don't, you know, I don't know who the French famous people are. You know, does Laurent Binet and Matthias Enard lead demonstrations in the street? I don't get the feeling they do. I think they're probably ensconced in their nice little universities. Could be completely doing a disservice. But it makes me quite angry, sort of how Britain regards its artists and intellectuals. It's with distrust. When Michael Gove said, you know, we don't want to listen to experts, and the head of the Metropolitan Police puts out a plea for academics, you know, to contribute to ideas to, you know, how we can stop youth knife violence. Well, why don't you ask the artist, mate? You know, in France they would have asked the artist. I've written a story, a 17,000 word short story about knife crime, getting inside the head of youth that you know, carry knives. So don't just ask the academics, ask the writers, like the French. Okay, rant over. Hooray! That's 3 writers. Okay. I would like to see J.K. Huysmans. Okay, that's in the centre. So I need to go back into the centre for that. I think I might just go this way, see what other numbers. That's 5, is that? Eyes down, cadaver bingo. Yeah, I don't have everyone in 5. I wonder if it's possible for non-French people to be buried. I should quite like to be buried here. It's a bit presumptuous of me, I know, as seeing myself as a writer worthy of inclusion with all these tremendous writers, but you know. What do we have in the UK? We have Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. Well, I certainly wouldn't want to be buried there. You know, this is a non-denominational graveyard, so this appeals in a way that Westminster Abbey, the centre of Anglicanism, doesn't. And I don't want to be buried in the place where they coronate our kings and queens either. I know, idle fantasy. And what difference will it make? I'll be dead and I won't know any different where I'm buried. My wife, interestingly, always insists she wants to be stuffed and held around the house. And assuming she goes before I do, that's not really something I feel terribly comfortable with. Seeing her lifeless, given the amount of life she has and the amount of energy she generates, to then have her sort of still is not something I can really grapple with. Oh, here we go. In the memory of Ernest Heilbronn and Claire Heilbronn, deported and assassinated by the Nazis in Auschwitz, 10th of March 1944. Wow. So it hasn't always been a history of internecine warfare and hatred between Jews and Christians, because in death, look, Jew buried next to Christian, so where does it get us all? Just returning to the notion of being buried here. Of course, my name, Mark Nash, not my real name, but anyway, the name I might be buried under, I suppose. Mark is spelt in the French style with a C, not a K, so that might swing it, eh? You can claim some false French ancestry. Oh, George Sand. Okay, that wasn't on my list. Some rather simple gravestone and simple flowers, but respect to you, Georges. Oh, please reveal yourself to me. Not in a scary emerging from the grave sort of way, but I would like to find your grave. Alright, just to see what his grave is, whether it's an absurdist grave or not. Okay, let's quickly go here because there's a sculpture. Could be, probably isn't. No, this is called Simon Powley, who died this year, in fact. Goodness. That's why I was drawn. My eye was drawn because of the sculpture, but it's not Tristan Zara. That is an extraordinary funerary object. I know they do that thing now, they make coffins in things like, you know, the shape of the Batmobile and stuff like that at your request. But that, I don't think I want to be remembered like that. So, I don't know how many, what did I have, 10 or something? 10 people I wanted to see? I found 3 of them, plus a bonus in George Sand. Not a very good strike rate. You know, I don't think it's a huge cemetery, but somehow, unless you know what you're looking for, it does conspire. Henri Langlois, now he was somebody, founder of the French cinematic creator of the Museum of Cinema, hence the gravestone. And this, dear readers and viewers, is my second port of call, Shakespeare and Company, English-speaking bookshop. that will be one of my purchases. Welbeck, but I have it. Look at the ambience of this place, fantastic. Han Kang, Franz Kafka, Dennis Johnson. Wow. D.S. Johnson.
Ah, daar ben je. Hallo. Ja, ik begrijp het, maar je mag er niet... Nee, mag ik niet naar gaan? Je mag er niet alleen van reis.